state regime media known as Fox is in a free fall. It is a parody of the parody of itself at this point. So they're trying to cover up for the fact that Donald Trump's top officials were involved in this group text thread where they were sharing war plans on the text thread and included a reporter from The Atlantic, the editor-in-chief from The Atlantic, and now the Trump regime is in full cover-up mode. They are enlisting the help of their propaganda network, Fox. So they bring on the national security advisor, Mike Waltz, who was the individual who created the text thread with all of the individuals, including the editor-in-chief from The Atlantic. And so he's being asked by Laura Ingraham, so how did you include this editor-in-chief, this guy Jeffrey Goldberg, on the chain? Watch as he tries to explain it away. Here, play this clip.
President, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know what staffer is responsible for this right now?
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the number? I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number?
Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name, and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else. Now whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical mean is something we're trying to figure out.
So,
and do you notice also how it's so clownish, like Laura Ingraham looks at the camera. We all do that, right? We all give war plans and national secrets away, like to our friends, right? On chats accidentally. That's what happens. I'm watching this. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And then Laura Ingraham says, so you never talked to him. So just again, how is that number on your phone? Play this clip.
So your staffer did not put his contact information. But how did it end up in your phone?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay, but that's a pretty big problem.
That's what we've got the best technical minds, right?
That's disturbing.
And that's where, I mean, I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone? I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets sucked in.
Someone sent you that
it gets
contact.
Sucked in.
Was there someone else supposed to be on the chat that wasn't on the chat that you thought was on the chat?
So the person that I thought was on there was never on there. It was this
Who
guy.
was that? What person?
Well, I'm not. Look, okay. Laura, I take responsibility. I built the group.
Okay.
So then they start to pivot on Laura Ingraham and other shows on Fox. And where do they go to? Daddy Elon is going to fix it. Elon Musk is going to get to the bottom of it. And by it, they mean how the individual, the reporter, was included on the Signal chat, not why this Signal chat discussing war plans was there in the first place, because they want to blame it on the editor-in-chief as they try to cover it up. Play this clip.
I certainly think that the White House is going to get to the bottom of this issue to understand how Goldberg got into this chat.
Yeah, well, I can tell you who will is Elon Musk. He's going to get to the bottom of it.
Correct.
Byron and Ned, thank you so much.
How pathetic is it that they always go back to their daddy Elon? Elon's going to be searching for it. Elon's going to be figuring it out. Then on Jesse Waters, what's his move? He attacks Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief from The Atlantic, and he acts like Goldberg somehow was like complicit and was a bad actor, whereas Goldberg was just added accidentally, inadvertently, negligently by the national security advisor. Watch Jesse Waters say sometimes they like change their names and they fake it so they can be like accidentally added. It makes no sense. It's just so stupid. Here, play this clip.
It's like Goldberg will sometimes send out fake names with a contact with their cells to deceive politicians. Wall says Elon and Big Balls are on the case. This wouldn't surprise me if Goldberg sneaked his way in. He's the lowest of the low.
Then Jesse Waters has this person. I hadn't seen her on Fox before. This RNC spokeswoman who's like, yeah, they're not getting any traction at all on the Signal gate. They're not getting traction. Here, play this clip.
They think they're getting a little traction with the Signal controversy. Do you see that happening?
No, they try to get traction on every little thing. Donald Trump is going to order the wrong meal tomorrow or breathe the wrong way on Thursday. They'll talk about it for a month. The American people do not care.
All right, Pip. Go.
Are y'all out of your freaking mind? This isn't about getting traction. It's about giving our national secrets away and classified information on text threads where it doesn't belong, and putting our assets and agents and troops and Americans and people and allies in harm's way, right? Trump's envoy to Russia, Steve Witkoff, was in Russia and Moscow while this was going on. I did an interview, you should go and watch it, with the former National Security Advisor, Susan Rice. And she told me undoubtedly the Russians have all of this information. Whatever signal chats that Witkoff was involved in with anybody else like this or other signal chats, Russia now has. And that means you're placing Americans and our allies in harm's way. You're getting them killed. This is, in my view, a violation of the Espionage Act. In my view, this is treasonous. So then they got to bring on Donald Trump's pink-dressed lady from North Korea, his Kim Jong-un press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, chief propagandist, and she goes, "It's okay. Elon Musk is on the job. Elon Musk is going to figure this out." Play this clip.
Added to the group chat. It remains a mystery, but we hope that soon it will be solved. And as you heard from the National Security Advisor, Elon Musk's team of experts are looking at this. The White House counsel's office and the National Security Council are all digging into this matter, of course, to ensure this can never happen again. And
Elon Musk is going to figure this out. This is the weirdest, most dangerous regime as well. Elon Musk, that's who you're going to have. What, look at how Jeffrey Goldberg got added to the war plans on a group text thread where people were like joking about war plans with fist bump emojis and fire emojis and American flag. Let me give you the answer. I'll do the investigation for you. Mike Waltz created the group chat and added Jeff Goldberg. Okay, done. That's the investigation. Do you notice though how they just can never accept accountability? It's always lie on top of lie. Here, Caroline Leavitt goes, you know what though? Americans should just be grateful. Just be grateful for everything we're doing for them and just shut up. Here, listen to her. Play this clip.
Pete Hegseth, and the American people should be grateful to these individuals and especially to President Trump for putting together such a competent and highly qualified team who are killing terrorists that the Biden administration allowed to run wild in the Middle East. And that is the...
Going back to that Laura Ingraham interview with Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, just the way they frame it, attacking again the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic like it's his fault for being added by Mike Waltz on the group text thread. And so Ingraham's like, so how did a Trump-hating editor from The Atlantic, and everything is like a nasty insult versus just saying y'all screwed up big time. In any other normal administration, not only will y'all be fired, but y'all would be indicted. This is criminal. But now it's like, oh, this is normal. This is just how we do things. Do you think that our former allies who Trump's attacked and berated, do you think they're sharing intelligence with us right now? Nope. Do you think anyone's sharing intelligence with us now? Nope. Do you think America is isolated and weaker than ever before? Yup. Play the clip.
Entire cabinet. But how did a Trump-hating editor of The Atlantic end up on your Signal chat?
You know, Laura, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but of all the people out there, somehow this guy who has lied about the president, who has lied to Gold Star families, lied to their attorneys, and gone to Russia hoax, gone to just all kinds of links to lie and smear the president of the United States, and he's the one that somehow gets on somebody's contact and then gets sucked into this group.
Is someone in your intel? Is someone in your intel team trying to cause trouble here? Because that's the scuttlebutt out there.
Look,
that
we have people. No, look, this is a great group. The president has a great team. This is not first term.
No, your team. I'm not talking about the other principals.
No. These were principals and a couple of staff that were coordinating, as you saw, having a policy discussion as we went forward, and then just in the days before what was an incredible strike.
Then Laura Ingraham says, so you never met this guy Goldberg before? Play this clip.
Communicate, and to the extent we get everybody in the same room, always better.
Yeah, it's always better. But you've never met Goldberg. He's out there saying you guys have met in the past, but you've never met him.
No idea. Wouldn't know him if I bumped into him, if I saw him in a police lineup. Do now. Knew him by reputation about lying about the president over and over again. What I can tell you for certain, certainly wasn't reaching out or talking to him at all. Why would I?
Yeah, well, he's been one of the most vociferous, vituperative so-called journalists out there in the Atlantic.
Well, near and dear to my heart is a vet.
And of course, they got to turn it on and just randomly attack Hillary Clinton. So that's always their playbook. Attack Hillary Clinton, attack AOC. It's just, do you see what they're doing here, though? You see how they brainwash their audience who thinks this is actually news? Here, play this clip.
Hillary homebrewed a server in her basement with thousands of classified files and then acid washed it when she got caught. And no one's being two-faced. It was an accident, maybe identity theft. And there is an investigation. And no one was two-faced on the chat either. The conversation was professional, serious, and thoughtful. And most importantly, America first.
And then Caroline Levitt acts like this is some Scooby-Doo moment, right? She's like, this could have been actually mischievous, like implying that Jeffrey Goldberg is behind this. Like it was a setup. We're working very hard to figure this out. How is he added? We're going to work very hard to figure it out. Mike Waltz added him. Idiots. That's what happened. Mike Waltz, the national security advisor, added him because y'all communicate with Signal, which you're not supposed to do at all. We know about the vulnerabilities of Signal, how it can be easily hacked into. You've got people in Moscow while this is happening also, may have even been inside the Kremlin. Play this clip.
So it's kind of strange that of all people, Jeffrey Goldberg entered this chat. Could have been an accident on your team's side, but it also could have been something a little more mischievous on Goldberg's side, as you heard Waltz say. What do you think about this character?
It certainly could have been more mischievous, as Mike Waltz alluded to in the previous hour. We are working very hard to find out how this number was inadvertently added to the group chat. It remains a mystery, but we hope.
And here Caroline Levitt's like, and the Democrats would have you all believe that this is a national security issue, and the Democrats would make you believe that this is a very serious. It is not. This is not serious. Giving out military secrets and more. This is not serious. Here, play this clip.
And there is nothing better. The Democrats, there's nothing that they're better at than spinning a sensationalist story out of a basic set of facts. And the president and our team have been incredibly transparent about what happened. No classified information was shared in this group chat. But the Democrats would have you believe we have a national security crisis on our hands when we absolutely do not. It's the same playbook they ran with the Russia hoax, which was a perfect phone call between the President Trump and President Zelensky at the time, which they spiraled into a hoax, and then an impeachment, which President Trump was later acquitted of, and that story was later debunked. They did this with the classified documents hoax when President Trump had the legal authority to retain those documents under the Presidential Records Act, and they had you believe that there was top secret information and it was a national security.
And here they go after AOC. Let's play it. and here Laura Ingraham almost gets it. She's like, so this is either a totally weird coincidence or somebody must have been regularly talking to Jeffrey Goldberg. Yeah, Mike Waltz. They're probably a source of Jeffrey Goldberg because Jeffrey Goldberg covers issues and Mike Waltz was a member of Congress. I'm sure they had each other's numbers, and he probably thought he was adding the number of JD and he put JG because they're idiots. Here, play this clip.
What else? I mean, my concern is it's obviously not, it's not Mike Waltz. It's not anyone on that call. It's obviously either a total weird fluke mistake or somebody is regularly talking or occasionally talking. Otherwise, you don't have the number in your phone, right? To Jeffrey Goldberg.
Yeah, you do have to. You do have to work.
And then how are other Republicans handling this? Like on the Hill, you've got MAGA Republicans like Pat Harris saying, mistakes happen. Whatever. Play this clip.
Is that we had a successful operation in Yemen. The mission was not compromised from an execution perspective. And ultimately, President Trump was able to send a very strong message to our adversaries, to Iran, to the Houthi leadership saying, things are going to be very different under the Trump administration than they were underneath the Biden administration.
Well, I think that's a very important point that you just said. I mean, mistakes happen. Mistakes happen all the time. And at the end of the day, let's talk about ramifications. What were the ramifications? Did the enemy find out any secrets about the United States?
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, I think that
so
if we had had
no, correct? So I'm just asking you a question. The answer was no, right? The enemy did not find out any secrets from the United States?
That's correct. The mission was not compromised from that perspective.
Right. American and Ukrainian officials, meanwhile, are meeting today in Saudi Arabia following.
And then you have Dan Crenshaw, a MAGA Republican, who's like, look, we got to move on. Let's just stop talking about this. Time for everyone just to move on and get past this. Play this clip.
No one was texting war plans. Dan, it seems this was obviously a mistake. The guy was put on the chat. Your reaction and the threat here.
Yeah, look, it's a mistake, and we got to move on. You know, if Secretary Hegseth says there was no classified information, I'll take him at his word until I see otherwise. The texts that were published in the paper, obviously, it's not great. You don't want to be adding journalists to what is a sensitive conversation. But I didn't see anything that even came close to meeting the level of classified. But I also don't know. So if Mr. Hegseth is saying that, I'll take him at his word.
Congressman
Crenshaw, you are oversight. Not Daddy Elon, right? Y'all call him Daddy, which is weird, or Daddy Trump, because y'all a bunch of weirdos. No, Congress is oversight. It is your job to literally find this stuff out and conduct investigations. That is your job. I just want to share this with you finally. When Tulsi Gabbard refused 3 times to say that she was even on the Signal group chat while they all claim that the information is not classified information. Play this clip.
I want to go back to what I addressed at the outset. I mean, this was not only sloppy, it not only violated all procedures, but if this information had gotten out, American lives could have been lost. The Houthis had this information, could reposition their defensive systems. So I want to get a little more information about this. Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not. Are you denying? Matt, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat.
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat.
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security Council.
Because it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
As the White House previously
stated, is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Director Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a Signal messaging group.
So you were the John Ratcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, the information was classified information. It was sources, methods, means, modalities of military strikes, places, locations, internal deliberations of the president and vice president. Clearly classified information. You see how state propaganda regime media works like Fox? You see what's going on? We'll call it out here all the time. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.